to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn on the Marketing Pulpit Show because we're on a mission. You can also find the show on the major platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and you can find it at marketingpulpit.com. Everybody, we're back. We're back here as we are every Friday on what is July. The year is halfway over, and so if you have to go back and check on what you've accomplished in 2023, this is a good time to do it. We're at that halfway mark. We're into the second half, so check out your plans, your strategies, and make sure you're meeting those benchmarks and those KPIs, and we're going to help you do it. That's right. We're here to help you. I'm Robert Gatewood. I am a business developer by trade. I help companies in the business space and technology space and networking space, building those relationships. And we bring you this information every Friday as really like a public service because we actually have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web where we have been helping companies for over 30 years. I'm also an author. I've written 2 books, one called Played in Full and another called Smarter Than the Boss. And I'm also an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College in the Washington, D.C. area, where I talk about marketing strategies, I talk about social media strategies, and I talk about networking. As a matter of fact, this past Tuesday, man, I had a busy week. I was at Employ Prince George's over in the National Harbor on July 11th, this past Tuesday. And that was coming off the heels of a trip to North Carolina where the Gatewood brothers, that's where I'm a member, we went down to North Carolina. We're on this Spread the Love tour where we're trying to stop some of these killings and some of this hate and division. So we were down at we were celebrated at our hometown library down in Wadesboro, and we went in there, man. I tell you, it was a really nice setup. I felt like I was on Apollo. Had the big red curtains, and so we did a couple of tunes, love tunes, some of our some old favorites, R&B favorites. We did Love Train, we did Sweet Love, and we took you back to our gospel roots. You can go to Gatewood Marketing, GatewoodBrothers.com on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can check out some of the clips from this past week. It was on Tuesday. Very well received, very diverse, big crowd, and we've been really busy. The Gatewood Brothers have been really busy. You can follow us on, like I said, GatewoodBrothers.com and YouTube and Facebook. And after that, the next day, I got in that night and Monday night. Then on Tuesday, I was at Employ Prince George's over in the National Harbor. And I've been doing that now since they've had a program now to help people in the county to get their jobs on and their businesses on, and I'm one of the instructors for that. And we talked about networking. So I started my normal routine talking about networking. I couldn't get 2 minutes into the course before somebody said, "But what about AI?" I'm like, "This is not an AI course." But they said, "No. What about Chat GPT?" But I'm noticing that no matter what I teach, no matter where I go, first thing out of people's mouths is, "What about AI?" I could be up there talking about basket weaving. I can be, "Oh, you took this weave under that weave and this weave over that weave." They say, yeah, that's good. But what about AI? It's on everybody's mind. And I don't blame them because it is so empowered. I mean, it's so powerful. We're facing it's like a global tsunami. And if you don't keep up, you're going to be swept out to sea. I'm telling you. I'm ringing the alarm bell, not to scare you, but you better keep up now. You need to talk about this thing. That's why we're here. We have tackled some of these issues over the years, and we'll continue to tackle this AI. And that's why today we're going to talk about how to keep yourself relevant in the advent of artificial intelligence, things like Chat GPT, Open AI, and so forth. And we're also going to talk about, since I was talking about networking on this past Monday, we're going to talk about, is networking the antidote to artificial intelligence? Is that personal interaction, getting that information that comes out of some of the benefits of networking, is that the answer? Well, I'm sure it may be one of them, but we're going to talk about that coming up. And so get ready for an exciting show. Thank you again to all of our loyal listeners, and thank you to the people who are tuning in for the first time. Thank you for joining us. We're also broadcasting live on Radio 1, 95.9 FM in the Washington, D.C. area and 1450 AM. Thank everybody over there for making this show possible. And so we got a lot going on. And you can follow the show by going to marketingpulpit.com. That's where we have all the information, all the different connections to Radio 1, to Facebook, to YouTube, to Twitter, to LinkedIn. And thank you for everybody who's tuning in from all these various platforms. So we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about some workforce trends. We're going to talk about how AI may impact you and some things that you may do. And also we're going to talk about how networking can actually be enhanced using artificial intelligence. Everything you're doing right now has to be, you have to at least consider the impact of artificial intelligence. It's not going away. And like I say, it's really, really, it's bigger than anyone. No one person can handle this alone. That's why we're going to come here every Friday and talk about it and make sure we're on top of things. Don't forget to support BLE Executive Suites, our sponsor. Go to BLEsuites.com. They have their 3 locations, one in National Harbor, one in Largo, and one in College Park to help you get that government contract. Sometimes you need that location. You can't use those P.O. boxes and fake addresses if you're trying to get that government contract. And so BLE has their government contracting location with a hub zone over in College Park, Maryland. So if you're a government contractor or a government tractor wannabe, call BLE. They also have phone answering services. They have accounting services. They have all types of services. So call them. We're happy to partner with them. They also have a monthly First Friday event. We just had one this past Friday. Attorney Carl Chin was there, talked about preserving generational wealth. And so Marketing Pulpit has become a resource for small businesses and for people trying to keep relevant in the business space. So stay tuned every Friday at 10:30 a.m. right here on the Marketing Pulpit. Also, don't forget to join the business directory where you can also stay on the radar. We try to keep everybody relevant who joins the directory, give you a shout out. So go to the homepage right now. You'll see some of the featured people like Nathaniel Jordan, the Minister of Wellness. You'll see BLE Executive Suites. You see Attorney Bradley Thomas. You'll see 222 Productions. You see authors Ashley Parker and Miss Turpin Housey. All these people who joined the directory. Get on there right now, and we actually have a free plan that can get you going, and we'll make sure you get your shout out every Friday right here on the Marketing Pulpit. We're also going to talk about some things that are happening in the news, which, of course, AI seems to be topping the charts right now, artificial intelligence. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, is probing ChatGPT over false information. They're saying that it has used unfair and deceptive practices, and that the chat box will be trying to determine if it has harmed people's reputation through false and misleading output. And so the Washington Post has reported that the investigation is among the FTC's forays into regulating artificial intelligence. So we're starting to see some pushback on some of this kind of wild west right now that's going on with artificial intelligence. And so the FTC has said, put on the brakes here. We're watching you. And so to all OpenAI and chat boxes and so forth in the world, just let you know that there is going to be some pushback at some point. I did a show a few years ago. Matter of fact, I'll show you at the end of this show one of the forecasts I've made about a lot of these things. I've told you since I've been on the air 13 years that every advancement is not good for society. I wasn't talking about OpenAI and Chat GPT at the time specifically, but I've been ringing this bell since the beginning that some things you just haven't been tested, or they haven't looked all the way down the road on what some of the ramifications are. And of course, artificial intelligence is the poster boy for that. We talked about last week about 2 authors actually sued OpenAI, alleging that they wrongfully used their copyrighted novels to train ChatGPT and OpenAI chat boxes. So once again, people are starting to push back. They say, wait a minute, you just can't do anything just because you have to have a smart, some programmers and a nice platform. So people are starting to kind of push back. Even Hollywood has gotten into the game. Right now, the Hollywood, the actors, the writers were on strike, and the actors have joined in. This is the first time the actors and writers have joined forces since 1960. But it has brought production to a halt. The SAG and AFTRA Guild have announced and approved the strike. And guess what? It's at the top of the list. They were going along just fine. They got to that last little piece of saying, okay, let's go, let's do this. But the final days before the extension, artificial intelligence has become an obstacle to the deal. And what you're seeing is, of course, that's open AI can write scripts. It can do basically anything those screenwriters are doing, those script writers are doing. And also the actors are starting to see that open AI and artificial intelligence can actually reproduce them. And so they want to make sure that they're protected, not just for today, but what's possible down the road. And that's where things have kind of stalled. They're looking down the road and say, look, we're not dumb. We know one day we're going to have a fake Denzel or a fake Harrison Ford sitting up on the screen. And what they're going to do is take their image, and without some type of agreement that you won't use this image unfettered, without some type of restrictions, then they can just do one script and kick them to the curb and not have to pay them the rest of the money. I'm going to say this to anybody who's engaging in any type of deal right now. Just like it happened with the people got caught off guard doing the recording industry, in the music industry. They go out here, they get on the stage, make these nice songs, and everybody scream. They give them a free Cadillac and a nice little check and send them on their way. And then the record industry makes money off them forever, residual income. So right now we're on the cusp of another game changer. So any type of deal you're looking in right now, particularly when you're using your content and your image and your likeness, you need to look in that fine print and say, look, I know the day is coming where OpenAI and artificial intelligence going to be doing everything. You've gotten my image now. You don't need me anymore. But that's fine if you're going to pay me into perpetuity. So that's just a little bit. I'm not an attorney. I'm not speaking as an attorney. I'm speaking as a business person. That you need to look at the ramifications of people using your content and your likeness. They can use it now. You can get a fat check. But what about 20 years from now when they're still making money from it? And I'm sure smarter people like people in this industry, like Attorney Thomas, can delve more into the intellectual property ramifications of things like OpenAI, ChatGPT, and this artificial intelligence in general. So as you can see, the news is full of OpenAI and artificial intelligence. Now, Twitter had just created to start to pay people, content creators on their platform. And so that's another thing that on the positive side of artificial intelligence is that, and this residual payments and technology in general, if you're a content provider, it's becoming more and more incumbent upon these platforms to pay you because they need your content. So we're going to talk about that coming up when we talk about some of the job trends and workforce developments down the pike. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gate with your host. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about a few more items in the news, but we're also going to talk about this networking. Is networking the answer, or at least a way to neutralize some of the effects of artificial intelligence? So hang on a second. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'll be right back in a moment.
Let me explain why we are not your typical directory. First and foremost, we don't wait for visitors to come to our directory. Instead, we proactively take our members directly to the shoppers with our aggressive advertising campaigns. For instance, we broadcast our own radio show on Radio 1 WOL 95.9 FM, on which we constantly promote the directory and its members. In addition to that, we advertise our directory on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We also feature our members on individual social media posts. And we invite our members into our studio to tell their exciting story to thousands of potential buyers. So if you're looking for an affordable and effective way to build your brand, find new customers, and grow your organization, do what hundreds of
We are back. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, here every Friday at 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good marketing gospel. And we're skewing more and more tech related as we get into this, some of the things that are happening down the pipe. I'm also, by the way, a technology consultant with a small business administration. Been doing that for quite a while. So this is kind of like my bailiwick as well. So we're going to try to keep you abreast of what's happening. So tune in if you're not sure what we're doing, what's happening out here. As a matter of fact, on the class that we did this past Monday, one of the other students are talking about Chat GPT, and she looking at us like this big question mark on her head, like, what the heck you all talking about? She had never heard of it. So you need to, if you're not getting this information from some source, or you're just not sure what it is and where things are going, tune in right here on the Marketing Pulpit, and we're going to have experts and so forth, keeping you up to date and making sure you don't get left behind on the trends and things that are happening. Right now, big tech is doing a lot of layoffs. We continue with the news, but one area that has not been affected in a negative way has been cybersecurity. So cybersecurity right now is one of those jobs that's going to be on the rise. And we're seeing that because of things like remote work and hybrid work and now artificial intelligence. Cybersecurity now has become one of those jobs that is really going to be exploding, because the hackers, just like we see new inventions and technology advances, the hackers see opportunity. And so that means cybersecurity is going to be one of those areas that's going to be continuing to rise. Some other workforce trends to watch is that this work from home and remote work is starting to get scarcer. Right at the end of the pandemic, where at least when it started to subside, people looking for these jobs, when they're applying, they're looking for jobs that say I can work from home. And so there were actually many companies that was actually offering that option. And now we're starting to see less of those. Even the jobs that are hybrid, meaning half at work and half at home, those jobs have also peaked. So you're going to start to see more and more companies demand that you come into the office. And with some of this open AI and artificial intelligence, that may not be a bad thing if you want to keep a job. Also, we're starting to see less people jumping from job to job. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with the fact that they're starting to get a little more nervous about job security. In the old days, it was like a job seekers market. Well, that's starting to shift now. People still need to work, and they're still seeing the impact of open AI, artificial intelligence. So this job hopping has actually subsided. And also the big trend right now is artificial intelligence. We've seen 15% of professionals say they are currently using artificial intelligence, and another 40% believe that they can gain skills by using artificial intelligence to advance their careers. So what we're seeing now is a shift where people are starting to not looking at it like this sideways, trying to figure out what it is. What they're trying to do now is figure out how to use it to advance their careers and help their businesses. Certain industries like big tech, or just regular tech in general, real estate, professional services, and financial services are most likely to be using artificial intelligence to increase productivity and the bottom line, where there are certain areas where it may not be as immediately evident where they would get their benefits, such as construction, oil, and gas, and other things. So it's a mixed bag right now. It's not created equal. It's not affecting everybody equally. Let's talk about quickly some of the antidotes that you might use to combat, or at least try to minimize the negative impact of artificial intelligence. One would be keeping your skills relevant, staying ahead, don't get behind. I've been saying that for years, even before. Even when I started this show back 13 years ago, just go back and look at some of the old shows. You'll see I've been saying it. I've been ringing this bell, and now it's just coming full force. You have to embrace technology and stop running from it. I've been saying that for many years. It's more important right now than ever. You have to be adaptive, complement AI instead of fighting against it. Don't be that naysayer, say it's not going to work, it's going to be gone tomorrow. Well, more likely you'll be gone tomorrow if you adopt that attitude. You have to work on your interpersonal skills, things like emotional intelligence, listening, and things like that. Things that right now, at least for now, artificial intelligence has more difficult time duplicating. Stay on top of the trends. Stay informed. I'm telling you, we have the information right here. We're going to keep you abreast. You can't do this by yourself now. I'm telling you. You can come on here and talk about it. We can trade information. So let's talk about this. So stay on top of the trends. Keep learning. Okay, consider getting some type of certification or some type of qualification that lets people know you are abreast and on top of artificial intelligence. That's going to look very good to an employer who may not be as astute in this area as you are or others. Be adaptable and agile. Don't be. It's not a good time to stick, to dig in your heels and say, look, I'm not going to change. Well, you don't have to change your morals, your ethics, and things like that, but you do have to change the way you do business right now because it's affecting everybody. If you're a creative person and you're very innovative, this is a good time to innovate, to leverage that to help keep yourself relevant and so forth. So there's a lot of things that we can do right now to keep ourselves from becoming obsolete. So focus on your human task, okay? Things that the computer can't replicate, okay? And last but not least, this will be a good segue into our next topic, is build strong professional networks. As I mentioned earlier, I was teaching a course this past Monday, and it was one of the first things out of people's mouths is like, hey, what about ChatGPT? What about artificial intelligence? Well, they were right to be concerned. But like anything, it's how you adopt. You can dig your head in the sand. You can go cower in the corner. You can say, well, all is lost. Don't take that approach, because for every one person that's displaced, somebody else is over there celebrating. You want to be on that celebrating side. So let's just say you adopted networking as one of your tools to go out here and combat it. Because one thing about networking is that it transcends any era, any technology. It's about nurturing relationships, building relationships, putting your foot out there, letting people know that you're available and what you're about. And so this is a good time, particularly now with artificial intelligence, to dust off your networking capabilities. And that's why that course was one of the best attended courses that I've had since I've been doing this at the Employer Prince George's now for over a year. We had more people on the class on this past Monday than any other class that I've taught. Matter of fact, about 3 times more. And I'm sure it's because of some of the concerns that people are experiencing, and they know that networking works. They just don't know how to do it properly. But let's just say you adopt networking as one of your tools. Here's some tools. Here's some ways you can use networking to even help you using artificial intelligence. Well, you can use these AI platforms that are out here, and they're actually recommending certain groups to join and things like that. So you can use artificial intelligence, the networking platforms, and they can study your background, your preferences, and they can actually recommend what type of networking events to attend. That's one. Also, you can personalize your recommendations using things like for conferences, they can workshops and things like that align with your professional interests. So the artificial intelligence can actually recommend can make recommendations. Also, it can actually write your introductions for you. Go to a place like ChatGPT and say, look, hey, write me an introduction. I can use that when I'm at networking events. Once again, artificial intelligence does not have to be your enemy. What is the old saying? You can't beat them, join them. You can actually use artificial intelligence to help you in your networking. You can also do your chat box for your for networking, like the chat boxes. They come to your website or to your platform. You can use those chat boxes to do the preliminary introductions and some of the follow-up. So once again, artificial intelligence can be used to help further your networking. Also, it's good for customer relations or relationship management. We call it CRM, customer relationship management. So AI can help manage, nurture relationships. It can personalize messages, it can keep track of your contacts, where they're going, and follow through on the process. So relationship management, once again, once you get out there and start networking, you can use artificial intelligence to make it more efficient. And you can also use it to identify certain connections that align with your skills. So you can use it in a more advanced way to go out and do some searching for you and find networks and jobs and opportunities that will align with your skill set. So the bottom line is we can embrace artificial intelligence. We can fight it. We can stick our heads in the sand. But the bottom line is artificial intelligence is here to stay. What I've been asking people to do, and it's going to be one of the drums I'm going to continue to beat, is real is going to be the new success model. being creative content creation, being an astute financial planner, there are certain things that AI is just going to have a difficult time to replicate. So what I'm going to say to you is to keep building those relationships and be authentic. If you have content out here and you look at how you can use AI to monetize it, and don't be signing these agreements now that's giving away your likeness, your intellectual property that somebody's gonna be making money off it for the next 100 years. Don't be like people that are at Motown, these other record deals, they just sign their life away. This is the time to talk to an attorney if you're a content provider, if you're doing something where you're putting information out here online and in the web and in these big companies who are going to be using it in the future. This is not the time to be signing things hastily. Take your time and let's be smart as we move forward with this artificial intelligence. So don't forget to go to, that's going to wrap up the sermon for today, but go to the Marketing Pulpit Business Directory and make sure you put your name in the directory so that we can shout you out. Also, that's another good way. We're going to be fighting this artificial intelligence and joining it at the same time to making sure that everybody in this directory understands what's going on. We have a blog and so forth. It's going to be pointing people to the radio show. And we have some very smart people in that directory that also we can use as resources. So join that, go to mpi.bz and join up, and I'll go ahead and give you a free upgrade if you do it today. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today. This is the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show. We're also streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and LinkedIn. And we'll be back next week. We're going to have a special guest next week. We're going to have the group 222 Productions. They're going to be talking about the big event they're having at the MGM Graham, talking about networking. If you want to be successful, you got to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work. Tell you folks, just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you have to do it. You're going to see a lot of this in the technology field. There are some things that can blow your mind. Just because it can be done doesn't mean you have to do it. And the folks that invent this stuff, of course, they're going to push it. They're going to push the benefits and talk about the cost savings. And boy, but your personal liberty, your privacy, your every advancement is not necessarily good for society. And it has to be moderated by some responsible adults. And we're starting to see more of that discussion when it comes to things like social media and some of these technological advances. Things like Uber and rideshare and Airbnb. Yeah, they're great ideas. They're great for the investors and Wall Street. But what about regular folks who have to encounter this stuff? So anyway, we're going to take a quick break. I heard somebody say, if you're the smartest person in the room, what do they say? You're in the wrong room, right? I don't know about that, ladies and gentlemen. I beg to differ. I say if you're the smartest person in the room, why rush for the door? Plus, who in the world designated you as the Michael Jordan of smarts? How do you determine if you're the smartest person in the room? First of all, what do you do? Take a poll? Give out an IQ test? That's a little immodest if you ask me. I mean, you may be, but I'm not sure that's something you want to brag about and tell everybody, look, all these folks in this room with me are my intellectual inferiors. So I say before you rush for the door, before you grab your oversized hat, I say before you declare yourself the smartest person in the room, and if by chance you do, instead of rushing for the exit door, why don't you do this? Stick around a while. Share some of that knowledge. By giving good service, you are nurturing and building one of your most precious stakeholders, and that's your customers and clients. But because of how you handled it and because of the mindset and the goodwill and brand that you put out there, you started to attract, if anybody here believes in the law of attraction, you start to attract other companies of like minds to be other stakeholders, such as joint venturers, such as partners, such as vendors, such as suppliers, such as staff. If they start to see your company and your brand in a positive light, it attracts positive influences and it's going to increase the trajectory of your company. So I've seen several instances where people, just good, hardworking business owners, they get caught in this trap of comparing themselves to others. And sometimes they feel like they don't measure up. But in comparing, we have this apples to orange comparison. Matter of fact, it's more like apple to pineapple. You have to pursue you and what makes you unique and stop this comparison. Now, I must admit, this tendency has been exacerbated by the internet. And you go on the internet and people, they see other businesses, they see other people doing things, and sometimes they're exaggerating their capabilities and their successes. And there's nothing wrong with letting people know you're doing well, but as long as you don't take it to the extreme and showing off. But if you're a business owner or somebody watching this, and you start to measure yourself against that, it can be a mistake.